Welcome back to Smashing Hits Podcast. My name is Zach. I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey, what's up?
Best friend, Jake.
How's everybody doing tonight?
And our fourth guest of the night.
I didn't introduce. He's not going to be on mic, but
he might not be on mic, but he might make it. We don't know.
Yeah, our new dog that Hannah and I got.
My rescue baby.
Yeah, he's behind Jake, currently awake, but he will probably go to sleep soon. His name is Winston. He's joining us.
He's curled up like a worm behind me.
Yeah, Jake sits in like a butterfly chair when we record, and that's actually Winston's favorite chair to sleep in. Yeah, so, since he's laying back there and all he does is sleep all the time, we're saying there's a pretty good chance that about halfway in, he's going to fall asleep. And when he does sleep, he snores pretty loudly. So if you hear any snoring, that would be the baby.
Yeah, he the chair that Jake sits in is the chair that Winston sleeps in while I'm up here working. And he values comfort over anything else in the world. And so he just makes himself at home around you. And he's currently making Jake lean forward a lot. But you know, you'll get used to it.
If there's anyone I'm going to lean forward for,
it's Winston.
That's my little Winnie.
Yeah. Winnie the Bish.
What?
It's from New Girl, which is named after.
What was
he is named after New Girl.
What was that movie about Winn-Dixie?
Yeah.
Forgetting Winn-Dixie.
I don't know.
What's it called?
I don't think it's Forgetting.
Remembering Winn-Dixie.
You're thinking about Remember the Titans.
I think it's just Winn-Dixie.
Is that another Denzel Washington movie? Let me tell you something.
Denzel.
Y'all want to talk about something.
He's still putting out bangers.
Denzel, man.
Have you seen his son?
Yeah, he's in a lot of movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, Winn-Dixie movie.
Yeah, I got it. I'm pulling it up.
Because of Winn-Dixie, okay.
Oh, I've not seen this. Jeff Daniels is a preacher in it.
Elle Fanning's in it.
I saw it pretty soon after it came out. 2005. I remember the dog was really cute.
God, I did not see this movie at all. Well, great. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a watching heads
about because of Winn-Dixie.
No, I don't think so.
For some reason, I'm thinking it like there's like a really sad part in it, and I don't handle that well at all.
Most dog movies, it's either going to get very sad or
they die.
Well,
and it gets depressing.
Yeah. So
I refuse to watch.
I haven't watched Marley and Me.
I haven't
watch
either.
That.
I won't watch it. Yeah. I won't do it
because there will come a time.
We just talked about.
We just went through this
on the latest Patreon podcast. If anyone didn't know, we weren't planning on having 3 dogs. I found Winston at the shelter and brought him home, and we ended up, we did a foster to adopt thing, and we ended up keeping him. And then within a couple, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, our almost 12-year-old dog passed away. Again, she was old. She just went to sleep and never woke up. She wasn't in any pain or anything, but we didn't know that was going to happen. And so
I'm going to start crying again. I cried the other day driving home thinking about it.
Winston has bridged the gap for us in a way that we didn't expect, obviously. But
it has helped me cope a lot.
He's great. Like he's been such a good dog, and he came along right at the right time. So again, if you're out there, go by your local shelter and just see who's out there.
You might have a little Winston waiting for you to take him home.
Or Razor was a foster to adopt.
Was it?
Yes, he was.
I didn't remember.
Yes, he was. Now we got him fresh as a pup.
Yeah.
I mean, he was 9 weeks old when I got him.
Oh yeah.
But regardless, you can find some real awesome dogs.
Yeah.
Through that, you really can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're saving lives. You're saving lives to save our world.
I was about to say saving lives to save our world.
Yeah, we and also like they're cheaper, and they're like our where we got him from. It's from a no-kill shelter, and so it's just our humane society. They take in as much as possible. The only time they've ever had to put dogs down is if they're like aggressive or whatever. But otherwise they'll keep them their whole life
forever.
If they need to. Yeah.
They'll keep them forever.
So if you're in our local area, go check out the shelter because they're good people. And
yeah, drop in the comments. Take some pictures of these dogs and show them to us.
Yeah.
There's some good dogs at our shelter right now.
They're overran right now because the problem in the South is too many dogs at all times. So I don't even know. Let's first of all, if you're here,
your family,
congratulations.
You did it.
Second,
Endless salad, soup, and breadsticks.
No. Second, they've changed their slogan. It's not that anymore. When you're here, your family. It's something similar, but they didn't want it to be like, oh, you're not only family when you're here, you're family all the time. But it's anyway.
That's so lame.
So we are watching the Gauntlet 2. If you have not picked up on that yet by the episode title or by the announcements that we've made and all that type of stuff, which you should follow us on social media at Smashing Heads on Twitter, at Smashing Heads Podcast, Facebook, and Instagram.
If you don't, that's on you.
Yeah, so we've already made that announcement. We're watching the Gauntlet 2. It's season 12, right, on Paramount Plus.
That's right.
Or is it 11?
I think maybe 11.
It's season 11. It's the second season on Paramount Plus currently.
It's season 11.
Season 11, and we wanted to pick a season that we haven't watched in a long time and that Hannah's never seen. And so that's why we gave our patrons the option, patreon.com/SmashingHeads gave them the option to choose between 3 seasons, Gauntlet 2, Gauntlet 3, and the Duel 2. And they picked the Gauntlet 2, which they won by 1 vote. So I'm excited for this. I haven't seen this season since it aired.
When I started it, I remember I watched this probably about a year and a half ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I haven't, because I don't. There's some people on here that I don't even remember. But before we get into the Gauntlet 2 episode breakdown, what we're going to do is episode 1 right now, because there are 17 total episodes. There's 18 if you count the reunion. We're not going to watch a reunion that's 15 years old at this point. So there's 17 main episodes. And so from here on out, we're going to do 2 episodes at a time. So it'd be episode 2 and 3, and then 4 and 5. And so that way we end with 2 episodes with the finale. But it just so happened to fit that today, Paramount Plus, and I guess CBS as a entity, whatever they are, announced a lot of new stuff, which means I don't think you're probably getting this information from us if you're plugged into the challenge world, but
you might be getting this information from us.
Might be.
We might be breaking news to you and flipping your world upside down.
I won't say her name on here, but we have a patron who's involved in the Patreon. She's loves the challenge enough that she sought out podcast and then sought out a Patreon. We found out she's never been on YouTube in her life.
That's right.
And I still just can't believe it. She was scanning QR codes during the Super Bowl, and I was like, how are you doing this? You've never even been on YouTube before. And so, maybe you are getting your news from us, but I would say that they announced that All-Star Season 3, they didn't announce cast, but All-Star Season 3 premieres on May 11th, which actually works out timeline-wise for us to finish this season right about when that starts.
Right.
If we do 2 episodes a week.
Look at us.
Yeah. It's like they knew that we waited, because initially we were supposed to record this past weekend, but then we had Super Bowl, Valentine's Day. Jake's brother moved up here.
Yeah.
And
we had a celebration dinner, and then I had work.
Yeah, and then Hannah had house-related stuff she had to do.
I had a closing plus a new listing plus, I was getting phone calls from 7 a.m. until about 10:30 p.m. all weekend long. Got a house under contract. It's been crazy.
Yeah, so we just had a lot going on, so we pushed it to Tuesday, which is today, and then all of a sudden they announced all that stuff. So it's like they knew that we were going to record tonight.
Well, can I give a quick listen? I don't hype myself up on here.
You want to give a quick listen?
No, I want to give a quick shout out to me. I'm proud of myself. You ever just do something you're just proud?
Oh, it's like that speech that Snoop has. I want to thank me for always believing in me.
Yeah. Well, before I get to me, let me first off shout out Han here for closing on a house that she's been. I gotta tell you, you want to talk about just persistence and the wherewithal to just when all you can do is stand and all you've done is stand, you just stand.
You remember the Titans.
You stood in there and you hung in there and you closed, Han, like a pro. You did it.
It took 14 months of my life that I'll never get back.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
So, shout out to Han. Zach's been here the whole time. We're proud of him.
Yeah.
He's just been here.
Yeah, just hang out.
Yeah. It was mine and, the love of my life's Valentine, our first Valentine's.
It was everybody's Valentine's
Day.
Day.
It was our first. And I'm proud of myself. I pulled off something really cool.
You told me about it a few days before.
Winston's asleep, or almost asleep, by the way.
You told me a few days before everything happened this week and what you had planned, and I was like, boy.
Yeah. It was so extravagant that she informed me today that her coworkers, one, recognized that I was head over heels for her, which I am. That's very much true. And two, that like, so what I did, here's what I did. I basically rented out a whole venue for this girl, like a wedding venue. We didn't get married.
It's a little vineyard with a little...
It's a little vineyard. It's really, really pretty.
It's very nice, too.
And I'm a firm believer that it ain't good if they didn't cry.
Okay, that's a weird metric to set.
But how many times did she cry?
About 5 times.
There we go. High five it. We did it.
We like making girls cry. So.
Yeah, I love it.
So, special moment for us. I don't know. I'm going to marry this girl. I don't know what I'm going to do to top that. That was big. I felt
was
good
really
about it.
big.
But, I'd like to think the good Lord blessed me with a good amount of creativity, so I have no doubt I can rise above it and overcome.
And we have time to like brainstorm and come up with something like elaborate,
right?
Which is gonna be like insanely awesome.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
You should hire a magician.
Yeah.
Oh, and pull the ring out of a hat.
What's that one guy's name? Magic Mike.
That's a stripper.
Chris Angel is who you're thinking of.
I used to watch him.
I did
that
too.
That doesn't surprise me.
I went through a phase.
You had Chris Angel phase?
I went through a Chris Angel phase.
I did not. I did Human Giant, which is a sketch show from Paul Scheer and Aziz Ansari and Rob Hubel from, 2004, 2005, probably about when Winn-Dixie came out or whatever it was. They used to do they called it Mind Freaks, and it was a Chris Angel like parody thing. It's really good. There's a show on MTV.
Well, Chris Angel was Chris Angel Mind Freak.
Then they called it Mind. It was something along. It wasn't Mind Freaks then, because for like legal reasons they couldn't just call it that.
I think that shows the difference in personalities here. While you were watching sketch shows, Jake and I were watching because of Winn-Dixie.
I actually was not.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Never mind.
I was aware of it, but I wasn't watching it.
I guess I was the only one that watched it.
So I didn't mean to detour there, Zach, but let me just, sweetheart, I love you. I'm gonna make it hand real heavy soon.
It's the weirdest way.
Beat it with a hammer.
So the Challenge All Stars 3, we already talked about that. When they announce the cast officially, we'll do a podcast, cast breakdown, that type of thing.
A draft.
We'll do a draft. Yeah, we're not doing that for the Gauntlet because kind of already know who wins.
I don't know anything because I've never seen this season.
I know who wins just from context clues of who's on the season. I can kind of put 2 and 2 together. But it's been a long time since I've seen this season. Probably the original airing in 2004, 2005. And so we're going to break that down. But we got to talk about Paramount Plus also announced today something that honestly doesn't make much sense as it's currently been announced. And so I hope there's some clarification going forward. I believe they're going to get a lot of kickback on the proposed title. Basically, they're bringing the Challenge as a franchise or as like an IP, like intellectual property, to CBS, and also to CBS like affiliates overseas, whatever Paramount owns in the UK, Australia, and Argentina. And they're setting up this big competition where there's going to be a new summertime challenge on CBS in the US and also on Paramount Plus. But then there's also going to be one on the equivalent of that in the UK, which is all UK-based people, one in Argentina, which is all Argentinian people, and then one in Australia, which is all Australian people. And then the winner of those seasons, from the little that we know, are going to come to one big culmination, a part 2, where they all battle each other for the challenge title of War of the Worlds, which is only on Paramount Plus. Now, there's a few problems with this. One is that the biggest glaring thing is that War of the Worlds, the
already
season
happened.
What happened? Twice. War of the Worlds 1 and 2. War of the Worlds 1, top 5 season of all time, I think, consistent.
That's a
great.
it
was incredible.
It was a really good season. I'd like to go back and watch it even as recently.
Honestly, I would too.
That's probably the only season we've watched since we started podcasting that I would revisit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, that was such a good season. Why would you want to take away from that?
That's
by naming this the same thing.
That's what doesn't make any sense. Also, what doesn't make any sense is that, like, if you're introducing this show to new markets, which, you know, we have a patron in the UK. He said the show doesn't go over very well there. I know they've tried to do it in Australia. It hasn't gone over great. So they're putting it on these, like, major networks instead of MTV now. And so because of that, they are going to introduce it to hopefully a new group of viewers that have never seen this before. And so you're going to run into some problems one way or the other. One, the trailer that they showed was just generic footage from, like, the last 4 or 5 seasons with, like, random people that we're all used to. Although Hannah pointed out when we were watching it, it didn't show, like, CT or Wes or any, like, really big name people.
Aside from, like, Corey. I mean, like, Corey's just, he's been on these so much that you recognize him immediately. Yeah. And he's become, like, a staple in the last few seasons. But there were several people shown in that trailer that we've not seen in a long time.
Yeah, like Brittany Thornton, whatever her name is.
The girl that's naked on her Instagram all the time.
Yes.
Big butt is what she's known for. Hooking up with Brad, getting pizza thrown on her by Marie. Her, like, Kara was in the thumbnail, and obviously Kara was, like, a face of the show, but, like, I don't even know if we saw that clip in the trailer. And so it's interesting because they're going to go one of two routes. One, either they're going to cast a bunch of people that we're used to from the U.S. that are just really good at this game, that have done it, you know, for the last however many years, or maybe even their whole adult life, if you're pulling in, like, CT, Wes, Bananas, those type of people. And they should theoretically dominate the worldly group. Or you're going to have to bring in a whole new cast of people that have nothing to do with the main show or All-Stars, that are just basically going to be casting for a new reality show that we have no attention to, like, no backstory with at all.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because, like
you could pull, like, random people from, like, Survivor, Big Brother.
I don't even know that, but, like, or just a whole new crop of people. And because, like, if you're pulling from people who have been on the main show before, the U.S. obviously has the biggest advantage, but the U.K.'s got a pretty solid group.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Kyle, and then Joss, and Rogan, and Theo, and like the guys on the UK side. And I like in the Slack group jokingly said Bear, and I was like, just kidding, like, he's not coming back on the show, but he was good at it.
He was good. But
he was fun. He was fun.
Off
but he's
camera,
he's a bad person.
Not a good person.
Yeah, he's a real bad person. And then, you know, Jenny West would be on that group, and
yeah, she was really good.
Like, there's some heavy hitters for the UK, but then, like, Australia, Dee's the only one that I know of. They're not bringing her back, and so it'd have to be all new. And then Argentina, I don't know if we've ever had anybody from Argentina on the show, and so.
Like, we had Logan last main season.
He's from Spain.
He's from Spain.
We had JP, but I think JP was from Brazil.
Where was Camilla from?
I think she's
Colombia.
Well, she may have been. I don't know. I mean, I think she's in the U.S., but I think she does have either Colombia or Brazil. I don't remember. Like, Camilla's not coming back.
We've had people from Spanish-speaking countries, but we've never had anybody from Argentina specific.
Yeah, so
that I know of.
So either we're going to be thrust into a whole new group of 4 shows with people who we have no, like, not attraction, but no, like, affiliation with at all. And it seems like they might all be airing at the same time. Also, current challenge seasons are like 20 episodes long. And so I don't think they can do that to make this a whole part 2 thing. But are they going to, we don't know if they're going to stagger them out. Is it going to be one and then another and then another and then another? Because the thing is, even if they're only 6 to 8 weeks each or 6 to 8 episodes, if you don't stagger them on top of each other, that's like 5 months of just solid back-to-back stuff.
It's overkill.
Yeah, which there's no way they're doing that.
It's oversaturation.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest fear is, like, I don't know how many people you're going to realistically get to care for this.
I think the people that care about it know about it at this point. And I think, you know, bringing in people from Big Brother and Survivor does bring new, like, watchers, but I don't know if putting it on a new network is. Who knows? Maybe it will. And maybe that'd be ultimately good for the main show. But I agree with All Stars 3 happening in May, and this is supposed to be in the summer. If All Stars 3 is 10 episodes, it's 10 weeks. And so that's going to go into July almost. And, or no, it'd even be, anyway. So if they're going to do this in the summer, that's 4 new shows in a part 1 alone, and then a part 2, which is a culmination of just the winners, which has to be its own like longer thing, right? Because it's the best of the best. And so... And then we don't even know when another main show on MTV is happening. I would assume based on this stuff, it'd have to be fall, at least. Mm-hmm. But it also wouldn't surprise me if the people at Paramount or The Challenge or whoever are dumb and want to air it at the same time as all this other stuff.
Like in July.
Because they've done that with All Stars twice now. They eat their own show. And what they've been doing with The Challenge is putting it up against Big Brother and Survivor and all these like network shows the same exact night, the same exact time. And so it's like they're trying... At the
end of the day, they're competing against themselves.
They're eating their hand, like
not these other shows.
You're killing yourself for the sake of like, I guess, saturation. But like honestly, like just from gauging our Slack group, which is it's people who are involved in the show, right? Mm-hmm. People that are in our Patreon really like the show.
And they watch.
I'd say it's 50-50 on people who are like, I'm excited, but I don't know how this is going to work, or ones that are just like, I honestly don't think I care about this at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
neither one of those are good if you're on production's side of this.
I hope they flesh it out in a way that makes sense, but I did go ahead and tell our Patreon, I'm getting breaking news to everyone here, we can't cover 4 concurrent shows at the same time.
We're not going to.
Yeah. It's not possible.
And also, there's a good chance that the Argentinian one is in Spanish. And so
I've tried to learn Spanish.
We're not going to be reading subtitles the whole time.
It's hard.
I will say we probably will watch the U.S. one, maybe do podcasts on that, and then we'll watch the culmination one. But we can't watch all of these if they all air at the same time, especially if they overlap with All Stars 3 and possibly another MTV season. And so, we talked about it in our last Patreon episode because someone brought it up. They're like, hey, when you guys started this podcast, you guys might have 1, maybe 2 new main challenge shows in a year, like in a calendar year. And like we just did 4 in the last calendar year. And he's like, are you guys excited for a break? And I was like, kinda, yeah. I mean, just because we were like doing a lot.
I know I said I was really excited for a break.
Yeah.
And then... this was kind of like dumped on all of us today.
Well, and it's, there was another question that was asked on Patreon was, about us in interviews. I'd say the main reason you haven't seen us do any interviews recently is because
I'd say it's 50-50. That one is just scheduling is just way too hard now covering this many shows. But 2, they've clearly production has made it an emphasis that they go on the main official challenge podcast or they go on to Johnny Bananas podcast, which it's fine.
The cool part about that, though, they know who we are.
Yeah. And I mean, like...
we've made a dent in this world, Han. You believe it?
I'm telling you, there's certain things that we've said over the course of our podcast that were like, no way would they know that we said this or listen to this, and then like they like do things, and I'm like, maybe they do listen.
Well, no, I know that they're aware just because we've had interactions with enough of people behind the scenes before. But it's gotten to the point, honestly, with interviews. All Stars cast is a little different, but like main show people, it's like we'll get stuff worked out, and then things just fall apart, or we never hear back from certain things, or publicists or agents never like follow through on stuff, even if the contestant wants. And it's just like, how long are we gonna like chase the same thing up a tree over and over again and it not pan out? So honestly, that plus the amount of show, it has led to less interviews, which we like doing the interviews, but you got to think most of the time when we do those are like 2 hours long, and they're video, so it's a lot more post-production, and it's also scheduling our 3 schedules plus someone in a completely different time zone, usually sometimes in a different country. And like, it's just that's been what's going on. And I'm afraid that you would rather have people wanting more than to feel like, oh, I don't even care about this. It's too much. And I'm a little worried that this summer thing might be that. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully they do it in a way that's really fun and really productive, and we get good cast and all that. I think All-Stars 3 is not anything to worry about. I think that's going to be solid because the first 2 seasons have been really good. But I do think that this whole new War of the Worlds, which they need to change the name, like that's just...
They've got to, because like another thing is like one, what I said earlier, they're taking away from the incredible season that they had called War of the Worlds.
Phenomenal cast,
but
too.
2, with them announcing this, there's going to be people all over the world that are like, what is the challenge and what's this War of the Worlds things? So they're going to Google it, and it's going to pull up all this stuff from season War of the Worlds 1 and 2, and they're going to be like, oh, well, this already happened. What's going on? It's going to leave confusion, and it's just going to be not a good look for people that are not familiar with the challenge, and they're going to think, oh, well, they're just kind of all over the place. Probably won't watch this because it's kind of unprofessional to me.
I just think it's bad marketing, and someone on Twitter was like, well, the challenge has never been concerned about SEO, like search engine optimization. Like, again, they do stuff that like kind of like spites themselves. Like it's easy. Just name it something that we've not seen before.
They're so notorious for shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah,
and it's like they don't even care.
I don't know. It's just like, I think Emily Longaretta, which she wrote for Variety, breaking down all this stuff. I think she said that in her tweet that War of the Worlds was a working title, but we saw a trailer that like showed it with a graphic, and it's like War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Like it's just they're officially pushing that, and
they need to not officially push that.
It's so easy to just name it something different. Like, I get that it fits the theme very well for what they want to do,
but you've already had this before.
Yeah, War of the Worlds 1 and 2. It's not like it's a one-off thing. It's not like they're like, hey, let's revisit Cutthroat from 2007, like something we haven't seen. Like War of the Worlds 1 and 2 happened within the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Like I think 2 was like 2 years ago.
I think it's laziness. How can you not just come up with something else?
Yeah,
exactly. It's lazy and it's stupid.
It's like it's like some executive heard about the challenge, and they were reading through, and they're like, War of the Worlds. Like, what if we did this? And they're like, great, let's run with it. And it's just like, yeah, well, just like it's fine idea if it's executed right.
Something very generic, right? The challenge, global wars. I don't know.
That's fine. That works.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not telling you.
I don't know if you
want
to call it that.
But it's better than renaming it what you've already had 2 seasons as.
I agree. I think it's an awful name, and it's bad for Google and whatever.
It's
like
bad for Google. It's bad for MTV. It's bad for the challenge. It's bad for all of these things coming up that they have.
What's funny is I believe when you get on Paramount Plus, the thumbnail is War of the Worlds 2. Yeah, like that's the thumbnail for the challenge.
Like how?
And
which is weird too.
It's so stupid. This whole thing is so stupid.
I just hope... I'm not worried about All-Stars 3. That's going to be fine. It's a good season. I mean, I know some of the cast, and I also know how the last 2 seasons have gone, which I do believe they won not Grammy, an Emmy for Best like music in a reality series or something like that for All Stars.
Yeah.
Oh, they probably won that just off of Return of the Mac.
Yeah, it was something along those lines. It may even be in this article.
All Stars 1 and 2 had incredible
I landed
music.
a Guild of Music Supervisors Award nomination for Best Music Supervision in Reality TV. Should have won. Like their music has been spot on in that. One other note, not challenge related, but it is interesting to us in this thing is Ink Master's coming back to Paramount Plus.
We love Ink
which
Master.
We all watch that.
I watch that. I don't have a single tattoo, and I love watching Ink Master.
Yeah, it's a fun show. Like reality competition shows are fun. Just don't screw it up. So, we'd love to hear what you guys think about this. I'm sure some people out there know more about casting and all that, but it doesn't even look like they've shot anything because the trailer they did literally was all footage from the last 3 years or more. Mm-hmm. And it's not even like, hey, here's a glimpse of the new people.
No.
And we haven't heard about calling for like cast for availability or anything like that. And so I just genuinely have no idea what they're thinking or what they're going to do. I hope it doesn't. I really hope it's not all new people, because like that's one thing that someone in our Slack group was talking about. It was just like, that's why we like the show, is because we've grown. Even the people that are newer to the show, you had older people that kind of bridges the gap, so you got to know the newer ones with the older ones there that you already like. You get to know people. When you're just throwing in 20 new people into a house, like, it's overwhelming, and also we don't have that longevity. Like Survivor that we were watching, Survivor season 28, it's been fun, but I don't think any of those people that we watched on there, we have any sort of a connection to like we do with the people that we like on the challenge.
No.
And so I don't know. I'm pessimistic about the execution, but hopeful that it doesn't suck. That it's too much.
I hope that they're gonna fix some of these things that they've already released or are trying to push, so that they're not setting themselves up for failure.
I'm hoping, that's a good. I'm hoping that, I think that they knew Paramount was going to announce Paramount Plus is going to announce a whole bunch of stuff today, because we got like new Paramount movies and Paramount Plus shows, and like renewing of shows. Like Halo series is already renewed for second season, hasn't even premiered yet, like that type of thing. And so I'm hoping that the challenge people were like, hey, we have this idea, but it's not all fleshed out, but we have to have it ready by this date because they're announcing everything. And so there's maybe stuff down the line will change. Maybe they're like, oh, the logistics of this don't really make any sense. We have to tweak this going forward. Or the name is, we need to come up with something better. Because that wasn't Total Madness, or maybe it was War of the Worlds too. Wasn't it called like Bloody Hell or something? For like, that's what they said on the show.
Yeah, and they called it that throughout the season, and then post production.
Yeah, they kept having to cut away for like whenever someone would say the title of the season. Like if TJ was like, here on, it was like Total Madness or whatever it was. And so it's possible something like that happens. But I don't know. I think hopefully they just got rushed into having to have something ready for today. And I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. We're here. We're open.
The comment section's open too, so drop down there.
Literally, there's only a comment section on YouTube, so we do have people that comment on there every once in a while. But you can always. I told you that a while back because somebody watched the West interview and was like, "Hey, right. I'm in a real toxic relationship. This actually helped me out."
I forgot about that.
So,
you're welcome.
Just tweet at us, send us something on Instagram, Facebook, anything like that. We read all of them. But I guess now that all that's out of the way, we already gave enough thoughts on it. Are you guys ready to get into
Gauntlet 2?
Which, by the way, this is our 14th season to recap.
Lucky number 14.
How about that?
Yeah,
we've been going strong for a while now. We're coming up on 4 years.
Close to, this summer will be.
Yep. Coming up on 4 years. Gotta say, this is one of the sicker openings.
Do you know who does the theme song?
No.
Super Chick.
Oh, heck yeah. I know all about the Super Chicks.
Yeah. Jake, I don't know if you saw. I saw them. I don't even know if you were old enough to go at a youth conference, and I believe I was 12 or 13, so you might have not been old enough.
Right.
And they were one of the bands that played there, and I had a backpack that they signed, and then I never listened to them again.
Were they pretty?
Not from what I remember, and also I think there's only 2 girls in the band, and then like 7 guys.
Oh,
and
wow.
I want to say they had a little bit of a ska influence to them. They at least had horns and stuff, from what I can remember.
I hate ska.
And
well, if you'll notice, Zach, I'm not a production guy.
Yeah,
the scenes in the water were shot. They reversed it. They reversed those shots.
They sure did.
Honestly, I did not even really watch.
Oh my god! Did I catch it and he didn't?
I guess.
I
watching. I was
making
they
notes
had to have
during
done
the intro.
it.
I think
they
I was
had to have
probably
done it
looking
in
up
reverse.
Super Chick.
No, so when they shot it, they were actually going underwater.
But
they
played it in reverse. Because when they came up, all their hair was dry. And
they're big Missy Elliott fans.
That's it.
Yeah.
There was one other. There's one other season that had a really sick opening.
The Jewel 2, the Haka. They made
no. That's not the one I'm thinking of.
But that is. I love Hakas in general.
Oh, was it Fresh Meat?
I don't.
Where TJ's playing like an Xbox.
That's not a good one.
No, that's not the one.
That is Fresh Meat though.
But like Evan, there's a scene with Evan in particular where he's coming up out of the sand, and he's got like sand in his mouth, and it's another like Rookies Against the Veterans kind of layout, I think. and the vets are like
was
coming
it the
up out of the
ruins?
sand. No, it wasn't the ruins. It was one of these Gauntlet. Somebody listening will be able to tell me. They'll know what I'm talking about.
Again, I haven't any of the Infernos or Gauntlets other than the Inferno 3, which was Kindle's season that we watched together, I believe, or like around the same time, right before we interviewed her. I haven't seen any of the Infernos or Gauntlets since they originally aired, so I could not fill in on that. Because Evan was on Fresh Meat, but that was the video game one Hannah was talking about. And then Evan was in the Duel 2 with the Haka, but that was not that one.
It was in between Fresh Meat and the Duel 2.
Okay.
Well, it had to have been between Fresh Meat because Fresh Meat was Evan's first season.
It's true. She got you there.
He was the Fresh Meat.
That's why
you got jammed.
That's why I made that point.
Yeah. I don't remember what season that is. I do like the goofy intros.
I love it. I
hate that we don't have it anymore. I
do miss the intros. Like
I
where
do
you
too.
Introduce
like
these people,
their names,
and have
stuff.
like a fun. Like there's one. I think Inferno 3, like yellow cards just like playing. Like they're just there playing while the intros happen. Like it shows the actual band. And I want to say like Midtown did one of them. That may be the Inferno 3, but like
that's.
They're
fun.
just like playing around and like you get names, so you get to know everyone on the front end of every episode, so it reminds you or whatever. But like, I like that for like especially like the Duel 2, like think how long it took to teach everyone how to do that.
Yeah,
they had to take at least like a day or two to practice and choreograph and film all that. And from what we talked with Big Easy at the Nashville season, like they had like an indigenous person there, like teaching them the respectful way how to do, like they weren't just like appropriating it, to a sense. Like they had someone there teaching them the correct way to do it. I love when like New Zealand teams do hakas and stuff like before basketball games or football games or anything like that. I don't know. It's just really cool to me. But
do you think Steven Adams does one before every Grizzlies game?
No, but I bet he knows it. For sure, because like there's a pretty famous clip from the Olympics a few years ago where the U.S. is playing New Zealand in basketball, and it's just like Derrick Rose and Kevin Durant and all these guys just watching like completely like blank faced as New Zealand does their haka before it starts, and it's pretty funny to watch in retrospect. But I like these openers. I don't remember about 4 or 5 of these people, if I'm being honest. Didn't remember Joe at all. Didn't remember Montana. Didn't remember Danny.
Timmy?
No, I knew Timmy. I liked Timmy.
We knew Timmy. I remembered Randy.
Yeah, Timmy's a guy that was on it seems like a lot of these around this time. He's an older guy, though. Obviously, we knew like Mark Long and Landon and those type of people.
Robin.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else. There was some other, like 1 or 2 other ones that I was just like, I genuinely don't remember anything about this person. But with this episode, like, starts, like, cold open. Like, you're just in it. Like, no intro or nothing at this point.
They didn't even go to the house yet.
It showed a map, and it's like Trinidad and Tobago, and then we're just in. And they're in buses, and so you're seeing people. You're seeing Brad, you're seeing Landon, you're seeing Derek, and like these familiar people.
I didn't realize this was Landon's first season.
Was it his first, or they said a rookie was someone with 2 or less? It's either his first or his second one.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Probably just for logistics' sake, they had to do that because they didn't have enough actual rookies. They're just driving. They kind of drive through a dirt road into like with a bunch of brush around it, and then they get out. And there's just a platform in the middle of the water, and I was like, they're literally just jumping right into this. Like, there's no introductions or anything. What worked out really nicely is I didn't realize it, at least when I put the options up for the vote, was this was TJ's first season.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that going into it. I knew it was around this time, but I didn't realize it. Do you know how old he was when this season was? You have a guess?
I don't even know how old he is right now.
He's like 43 now?
He's 45. I mean, you could do the math now. That kind of gave it away a little bit.
Nope.
Well, what years?
Well, that's going to for sure give it away. You're just going to do math.
Well, I don't know.
Was this 2009?
No. This is like 2004 to 2005.
Oh, longer.
Okay, so he's probably like 29.
29.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, his first. I knew TJ Lavin back then
as the BMX
from
guy.
BMX. I loved the X Games. I knew Dave Muir. I knew Johnny Mosley. Like I was aware of. But
how about Andy McDonald? You remember him?
I like Andy McDonald.
I like that. He was the old guy.
Him and Tony Hawk are still skating doubles together.
Yeah. I liked all Andy McDonald.
Yeah, I liked Andy McDonald.
And I was always upset because he wasn't in any of the Tony Hawk games.
Well, he was in a competitor's game. He was in, I believe it was just called Street Skater or something like that. Because I had a game that he was in, but yeah, he was one of the guys that was never in the Tony Hawk franchise.
Hated that for him.
Yeah, he picked the wrong franchise to be in.
He picked the wrong one.
He did.
So yeah, TJ announces, hey, here's what we're doing, blah blah blah, and then when the intro happens, Super Chick. And we find out somewhere around this time that it is rookies versus veterans. And they do qualify rookies as someone with less than 2 challenge seasons. Or 2 or less, sorry. And so some of the people that, like Susie's on the rookie team, Landon's on
Brad said 2 or more challenges makes you a vet.
And they said 2 or less makes you a rookie.
He says 2 or more. So 2... you would be a vet.
No, the rookies are...
If he said that, he's wrong.
Yeah,
he said it in a confessional because I wrote it down verbatim.
Okay, well, they also said 2 or less makes you a rookie. I don't remember who said it, but I wrote down what they said.
You can't realistically make a team of first seasoners.
They did later in the Ruins, right? Wasn't the Ruins all rookies on that blue team? And then it ended up being just Sarah and Kellyanne by the end because the rookies just got ran over by the vets that whole season, even with West trying to sabotage it. And that was 5 years later, and that one was 2009. So we get to basically a daily right off the bat called just Royal Rumble. And
I made a note. This is Jake's favorite thing.
You can't beat a good battle royal.
Well,
Royal Rumble. It's a shame there wasn't a rope to throw them over the top of.
Do you? Why do you think they waited until it got nighttime?
I don't know.
Because
suspense.
I wonder if there was rain, because it did show rain at one point, and I wonder if they had to wait for safety reasons for that. Because if it's lightning and stuff, you can't obviously throw people in water. Because
it'll kill you.
Filming at nighttime like this it looks bad, and they wouldn't have got them there during the daytime if they thought they could film. Like they would have just brought them at nighttime to begin with. So I'm assuming there's some sort of a rain delay, and then they just had to roll with it, similar to All Stars 2, where they didn't expect it to go into the nighttime, and then they just did all of a sudden. And so we find out that the winners win $1,000 from Energizer, got the daily prizes back. I am excited about that.
Mm-hmm. I like the daily prizes.
I don't know if you guys saw at the end of the episode during the credits, it showed the 4 logos of sponsors, and it was Energizer, and then... I don't remember the other 2. I want to say Best Buy was one. That makes it hard to give electronics away. And then one of them was just Nintendo DS. Okay. And so I bet someone's going to get
a Nintendo DS was that was the stuff back in 2005.
I still know young kids that are 14 and 15
today
that still play a DS or 3DS, even though the Switch and all that's out there. I've seen people that carry those around, and I never had
as
one.
a form of communication too.
What?
Don't they use them for Can't you get on chat rooms?
They're playing Pokemon. I don't think you can get on chat rooms with those. Nintendo's very, very strict about having who all can access people, because they know a lot of kids play their stuff, so their online system's really bad.
Yeah, I didn't have a 3DS. I just had the DS, and I think there was a feature where if you had a DS and you your friend had a DS, if you could send each other a code, you could have your own. You could have your own chat room and talk to each other.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. I guess when you said chat room, that makes me think you can just be hey, who's in here? Let's hang out.
No, it had to be somebody that you knew.
Oh yeah, chat rooms to me are where you meet creepy people on the internet. That was always a thing with us growing up.
Catch a Predator.
Yeah.
We've been watching To Catch a Predator.
Jake,
they've got full episodes on YouTube.
Jake, I didn't realize because we've been watching the Survivor thing. You nicknamed somebody, looks like they're from To Catch a Predator.
Yeah, there's a guy. I wish I could find him. Yeah.
Hannah was only aware of the show. She had never actually watched it.
Oh my God, it's iconic during that. Like
we watched through a bunch of them the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, "How have you not seen any of these?" She's like, "I knew what it was, but I didn't realize it." And so, like, when he's like reading back their chat logs, and my favorite is the guy. It's Chris Hansen is reading it. And he's like, "Do you like anal?" And he's like, "It's a question."
Oh, the Mickey Mouse guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
a question.
Yeah, it's so funny. And he's like, "What's wrong with that?"
Yeah.
And
there's some like real characters on there, man. It's bizarre.
Watching back through it, most of these people definitely have some mental issues.
Yes.
But there's others that are just straight up, they are just straight predators.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
Like the McDonald's guy who gets caught twice in 2 days, like he's not there all the way.
Yeah.
Like there's something off there, but
Like we watched a clip of one guy. He was probably pushing 60, and he said that he reads books
like
about
incest books and
like
stuff.
fathers and their sons and grandfathers and their
I know.
sons.
And I had forgotten about a lot of them, and then as we were watching them, I was like, "Oh, I remember all
Because
these
he's wearing
people.
a shirt that's just a huge map of like Nevada.
It's California.
California.
Yeah. So I didn't realize she had never actually watched the investigations, and so we did that the other night. I meant to tell you.
Oh man, yeah.
It,
I wish
it,
you would have called me. I'd have come over.
It is iconic. Like
I still haven't watched a full episode. We were watching like
it's compilations.
No, you gotta watch full episodes.
I've never watched a full episode. I had seen like one or two. I'd seen one or two clips of like just when the predator comes in with the decoy and what they're saying and stuff like to the child.
By the way, that show was huge around the time this show happened. Exactly the 2004, 2005. Like that's when To Catch a Predator was like really like kicking off.
It was wild.
And I wish they would do it again because you've had. I know Chris Hansen has like a YouTube channel now, and he's done some stuff like that. But
yeah, he did a little stint called Hansen versus Predator.
Yeah,
there's like 5 episodes. There's not many.
He should link up with the Child Rescue Coalition because they're in with like worldwide government.
That gets tricky though because then you're dealing with like all different sorts of laws and stuff like that. Like in the U.S., typically most laws are, but it's just like I'm sitting there and I'm like I'm 33. I was like I can't imagine like just say like hey I want to talk to like, just a 13-year-old and then be like I'm horny. I was just like what are you thinking, man? Like
and what's so wild is a lot of these guys they're either like older than my dad or they're close to like you guys' age.
Every once in a while you'll get like a 20. There's a couple of them that like they were like 26 or whatever, and then he was just like yeah probably would have had sex with them.
It's not funny.
It's not. It is, but
you read like their Yahoo Messenger names,
the screen names,
yeah, and like
it's like born to hammer.
One of them was generic white
too
guy.
fast for you or something. Yeah, generic white male. Yeah. And he had one guy, Jesus is my savior.
Was that one of them? We didn't watch that one.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that one.
It's just the like it's you get people in there that are like, you know what, you're right. You're like, I'm a good Christian man. And he's like, well, then what are you doing here? He's like, yeah, I just messed up.
Yeah, we watched one clip of Chris Hansen like interrogating him, and he's like, well, I'm a good Christian man. And Chris Hansen was like, show me where in the Bible it says that you can do this. And he's like, well, I just am.
Like, and then he reads back the chat logs and he has to bleep like every 3 words.
And I'm like, that ain't no Christian man.
Yeah, it's just anyway. If you haven't watched that, like Hannah, that was in the heyday of like this challenge. Like go back and watch it.
Honorable mention: one guy wanted to do something with the
cat
boy and the cat. Yeah,
we watched that one.
Oh yeah,
and then she
made him strip in the laundry room when he came in the house naked.
And I was like, he deserves that so much because he wanted to do something with the cat. If I were the decoys, I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to embarrass you even more.
Yeah,
you get naked and then come in here.
Yeah,
and Chris Hansen, shout out to his improv skills. Because he'll wait till like someone's washing their hands and they'll be like, "Do you need a towel?" Anyway.
He was ready to be on camera.
Yeah,
it
was
hey,
good.
To Catch a Predator.
Yeah, I can't recommend that enough. It makes you feel gross, but then you also can laugh at how dumb these people are. Or another one. There was a guy that came, and then he got caught. And then he's on the beach in like a SpongeBob jacket, and he's like, "Hey, you want to give me a ride home?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "No."
Chris Hansen's like, "I can't do that."
He's like, "You mean I got to walk all the way back?"
And he's like, "Yes." And then as soon as he gets up, the police like come and like cuff him. And I looked at Zach. I was like, "Well, hey, he got a ride."
Yeah. Anyway, check that out, YouTube. Anyway, they did this in 4 rounds. Rookie guys. Vet guys, rookie girls, vet girls, and then whoever wins, they find out they become a captain and also win $1,000 from Energizer, like I said.
What was it? This past season, Spies, Lies, and Allies may have been double agents where TJ got really upset that people weren't trying during the challenges.
True.
Yeah.
They didn't try on this one.
This was his first.
I get it.
Yeah,
I'm aware,
his first day of the first.
Yeah, he's clearly matured in that area.
Yeah,
it was all fun and games here.
It was, and the rookie guys, they just go for it.
I think at one point he was like, "These guys."
Yeah.
I think he didn't. He's like, "Oh, I gotta just roll with whatever happens. Like I can't assert myself at this point." Because I want to say like. It's been a long time since I've watched them. Johnny Mosley, Dave Mirra, like they didn't ever like insert themselves into anything.
Never.
Like TJ does now, but like they weren't like, "Oh, you guys are awful." Like, what are you doing? Like that's a TJ like specific thing.
Yeah,
he'll call you out. And
by the way, Winston is snoring. Yeah,
you guys hear that?
Yeah, he's snoring.
Dreaming too.
Yeah, he dreams.
He does, and his little feet will move like he's dreaming about running.
Yeah,
and it just makes my heart.
He prances
swell.
like a deer when he runs.
He does, and he loves to jump.
So
not jump high, but like jump over things.
So Alton wins for the rookie boys. Not surprising. Again, Alton's one of the better people on the show, and the veteran guys, they just come out and they just fake wrestle, which fitting. Royal Rumble.
Right.
Yeah.
Name of it.
They fit the bill, and then they just had a rock, paper, scissors tournament.
Yeah, and so then they go out, and Adam wins that, which I got to admit, I don't remember a lot about Adam. This Adam. Not Adam King.
Yeah.
The guy that won this one. And I also just made a note. I was like, he looks boring. And that's completely basing it off the interaction that I'd seen at this point of the season.
Well, the thing was like the veteran guys, they said that the reason they decided to do just a rock paper scissors competition was because it's the first day, and they're like, it's just for team captain.
And $1,000.
And $1,000, but they're like, we'd rather just play it safe and not risk anybody getting injured on the first day.
I do honestly think that's a vet move.
I do too. Now the rookie girls were the next ones to go, and they followed suit, but not for the same reason.
Well, and it's like they're the complete opposite, because in the vet girls wanted to kill each other.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so, the rookie girls go. They do rock paper scissors. Joe wins. Don't remember anything about this girl, and apparently it had been like a decade since she had been on TV at this point. And so, she wins. The vet girls go. Hasela quits right away. Just jumps right off. And then they just fight each other to the death almost. And ironically, Ruthie is one of the smallest people there.
Mm-hmm. And she wins.
She wins. And do you know, it said she was on the Real World Hawaii. Hannah asked me if she's actually from Hawaii, and I was like, I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, don't ask me.
I know she's I want to say from All Stars, she said she was adopted. Mm-hmm. And she is Filipino to some degree. I don't know if it's full-blood Filipino or if like one parent was and one wasn't. But
well, I do know the Philippines and Hawaii are so close together that, anytime we've been to Hawaii, there's a lot of Japanese and Filipino people.
Yeah, I mean it's as close to you're closer to Japan, I think, than the U.S. when you're in Hawaii.
Yes. So I didn't know if she was actually from Hawaii.
I don't know, and I didn't watch her Real World season, so I don't know that. But shout out to Ruthie. She's always been like an underrated competitor as far as like she wins stuff that she shouldn't, like this.
Mm-hmm. She's tough.
So I wonder if they would have known that they all get like luxury accommodations at the room, if the vet guys and the rookie girls would have tried harder.
I mean, they got like full-size beds, their own patio.
And then everyone else is sharing a single room in bunk beds. And I would have, if I would have known, that would make me compete harder. Because that's, to me, and like in this scenario, the hardest part is the sleeping and like social arrangements. Like guaranteeing a big bed in your own room, like that's...
give me that all day.
Yeah,
all day long.
Because then when you're ready to go to bed, you shut off the lights.
Well... I mean, that's never happened. There's a million times in the house where people are trying to sleep and people keep each other up.
Yeah, that's the thing. But like if you have a luxury quarter, you've got that many less people keeping you awake.
True, and you're not having people stumble in and out of your room like drunk, like trying to get to bed and that type of thing. So
people are doing it.
Yeah, which that comes up in a minute. We did find out that Jaime was living at a Buddhist monastery before this, which
came straight from it.
That's got to be a complete 180 shift in living quarters.
In mindset too.
Yeah, I don't. Jaime Murray, right? That's the last name.
Maybe
that sounds.
It ain't Jamie Kennedy.
No, Jaime Murray sounds.
Which, by the way, Jamie Kennedy is probably pretty big at this time.
Or Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx, arguably still
big,
pretty big. Yeah.
Have you ever heard Jamie Foxx sing?
Yeah.
Boy, he's good.
He was a singer like in the 90s.
Oh.
And so they Keena and Randy are dating. Found that out. They look pretty boring together. Found out Robin and Mark are not dating.
Jaime Murray is a professional tennis player.
That's Andy Murray's brother, but I believe this guy's named Jaime Murray too. I may be wrong on that. Type in Jaime Murray the challenge. Did you know Andy Murray, his brother?
I'm aware Andy
is a doubles like champion tennis player.
No,
yeah, he's like 36 and he's really good. Like,
about that?
Also, it's Sir Andrew Murray.
Well, he's
a sir.
And then Alton says him and some girl moved in together, but I don't think it was anyone on the show. And then he said that we broke up. So for Robin and Mark not dating, she does throw him a birthday party a little bit later.
It is Jaime Murray challenge.
But
even when you type that in, you still get Jaime Murray, the tennis player.
I wonder because there's challenger events in tennis. I wonder.
Probably.
So they bring them to the Gauntlet area, which is like where they're going to do their eliminations. It's basically like half sunken pirate ship. It's a cool elimination arena, especially for like this early on in the show.
What do you guys feel about the pirate theme?
I don't mind it. They're in Trinidad and Tobago. That's very on brand. With like again, I just played through Assassin's Creed Black Flag for the first time since 2015. It's like 7 years, and like you're in all those areas. You're hopping around from Havana, and I don't think you go to Trinidad and Tobago, but you're all around all those island areas, and so I think it's on brand. It'd be weird if they were in like Austria and they were doing pirate themes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to think of where Austria is.
I mean, I just anywhere, Bulgaria, like any, Germany, France, any of these places like that. Although
France had
France does have water. We find out that each challenge, so each daily, it seems is going to be worth $10,000, which I assume is split among the team.
That's right, Zach.
And then the final is $150,000, so $300,000 total up for grabs. And is it the type of thing that where, Jake, since you have watched this more recent than we have, is it the type of thing that if you get sent home, you don't get any money?
That's it.
Okay.
So it goes into a team's bank account. So whoever wins, they not only get the $150,000, you get whatever you banked.
So just a question for the team that loses: did they just get their daily total at the end? Like, so say a team wins 7 dailies, but they don't win the final. Do they get $70,000 to split among the team?
That I can't remember.
I would assume so, because then otherwise, where's the money go? It just disappears.
Well, you never gave it away, so you never lost it. So
I would assume that they keep it if they're on the team when the final comes.
Well, regards to some of the information that was released here, the captains are, just to make sure that I fully understand, because like even some of the castmates had to ask TJ for clarification. So the 4 captains that we have now are captain forever, unless
they get sent home. So
Joe is the rookie girl captain. Ruthie is the vet girl captain. So when the rookie girls lose a daily, Joe is straight into elimination.
Versus
the rookie girls vote on who amongst themselves goes against Joe.
I believe so. And then the other team that won, they're just safe.
Yeah. So if
we haven't seen an elimination at this point yet.
If Joe wins, she comes back and she's still the captain.
Yes.
If Joe loses, the other girl that wins comes back and she's the new captain.
Which, by the way, is very on brand for pirating. Like, if you were to cause a mutiny and like duel the captain of the ship and you killed them, you would be the new captain.
Right.
And so I was like,
is that how it works in the Pirates of the Caribbean?
You know what? I haven't seen.
That's the only real pirate
I think I've only seen one of those
thing
movies.
that I have exposure to.
And I believe, because again, I watched this season about 1.5 years ago. I believe they go straight from a daily into elimination.
Okay.
So like no time
off.
So
they go deliberate. They got like tents set up where they go deliberate.
So right after the daily, they deliberate.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
So there's not much room for like politicking and stuff. Like it's just like heat of the moment
or rest.
Yeah. So that makes sense. I would assume that the dailies are more. I mean the eliminations are more like the style weird kind of thinking of, like it's not going to be like really over the top things like we can see nowadays.
Right.
Do the captains take over the captain's quarters? Like if you take the new captain role, you get the private room now.
Yes.
I mean,
so
that's what makes sense.
It is very much like a pirate. I'm fine with all that. They were all kind of as a cast shocked by, oh wow, the captains have to go in right away, and I was like, well, nowadays like that's kind of expected.
Yeah.
It's high risk, high reward to become a captain. Like that happens in All Stars. Yeah. If you win, you get extra perks, but if you lose, you're automatically going in. So that's when we find out that Robin is throwing Mark a birthday party, and at this point, he's like 30-something.
30-ish.
Which he's 50 now, so if this was 2005, he's probably 32 or 33.
Thereabouts, Zach.
Yeah. So he's like my age.
That would be 30-ish.
Yeah. And am I wrong, or did him and Robin make out at some point during this?
No, they did.
I was about to say, he was making out with some blonde girl.
They made out a lot.
You know what? Good for them. They're living their lives.
They're not dating.
Yeah.
They're just doing it.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know. They have at some point, probably.
Right.
So
Joe doesn't like the party.
Well, not even that. Before that, they're showing everyone just hanging out and partying, and then we get a like one shot of Joe like on
laying
a blurred
on
out computer. No, on a blurred out computer screen. It looks like she's on like MySpace or something, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's odd. And then right after that, before we get to the whole Joe thing, David says that Jody is going to steamroll the whole cast because she's super horny. And I was like, that is not at all what I associate with Jody.
That's not the Jody we know.
What a phrasing to use, too. Steamroll.
Yeah. And because, like, I remember from Jody, because, again, I haven't watched this season since it aired, and I probably didn't know her before this season. I just remember her being, like, super laid back and, like, just
very
competitive,
sweet.
Very quiet, and just, like, she's going to compete and win a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I don't remember this portrayal of her at all, which is really funny in retrospect.
Hey, when you're horny, you're horny. It don't matter what kind of personality type you are. You can't beat horny.
You can beat it with a stick.
Well, that's what some people call it.
So
magic stick.
Yeah.
I want to not talk about that.
So right after that, Joe's on looks like a T-Mobile sidekick in a car, and all of a sudden she has an English accent.
I didn't know she was English.
Did she
I picked up on that earlier in the because
I didn't. I just also assumed they're all from the U.S. and so I wouldn't have thought anything about it. But like it seemed like it laid on real thick when she was on the phone.
Well, it said that she was on the phone with her dad,
from
and
England.
then it said in parentheses England.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh well, I guess she's English.
I will say it is similar to you. When you get on the phone with your mom, you get way more Southern.
No, I don't.
You 100% do.
No.
And so it may be that type of thing where she's got a little bit of an accent, and then when she gets on the phone with her dad, it like ramps up, and that happens with you a lot.
Golly, y'all.
Yeah. I ain't never seen that.
It rained quicker than the mud on a whistle stick.
Okay, I don't use the y'all word. I say you guys, but also
You guys ain't raining.
sometimes I'll say yuns.
Okay.
But no.
100%.
No.
I'm gonna record you one day.
No, you're not.
Yeah. So
You ain't ever seen a tadpoles trot down on a tree pole.
on a what now? Tree pole?
Did you wake up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this
I
morning?
ain't never seen a tadpole slide down a tree stump.
Well,
Tadpoles are still in the water.
You ain't never seen it. That's what I said.
It is true. You've never seen it.
Quit.
Derek apparently passed out like 3 hours ago, and someone's like, "Guess who passed out?" And they're like, "Oh, duh, it's Derek." And I guess I don't remember that being a thing with him, but maybe it was. Winston's turning around behind you.
He's good.
He wants his head on the other side.
Yeah, he's good.
He's got to see me.
So this starts a whole thing where Derek's asleep, passed out on it looks like Joe's bed. So didn't really work having the chambered areas, and I don't remember who got the idea. Someone, Akina was involved, Alton was involved somehow, but they get like chocolate syrup and they want to put it all over him, and someone's like, "This is Joe's bed," blah. And then like him and Alton wrestle at one point, and I don't know what happened, but then Joe starts threatening to call the police like every 10 seconds.
Yeah, she like gets off the phone with her dad, and she's like, well, like basically during the phone call with her dad, she's talking about how she's like, all they do is drink and
fornicate, is what she said.
And fornicate on the bathroom floors, and she's like, this is just not the environment that I thought it was going to be, and I can't handle this. And so like
It's night one.
She basically was saying she's quitting, and so she gets off the phone with her dad. She's like, I need to go back to my room and pack my things. So she's already in the mindset of I'm leaving right now. And so when she goes up to pack her stuff, she sees the chocolate syrup in the floor, and it's not a lot.
She's
it's
like,
just
who
a
lives
little
like
bit.
this?
Like, she goes off, and she's like, I can't live like this. This is disgusting. Like, didn't she say you should be ashamed of yourselves or something?
To be fair,
but
I wouldn't want chocolate syrup all over my bed. But also, when you sign up for a thing like this, you kind of think stuff like this comes with the territory a little bit.
But she threatened to call the police like 10 separate times.
She threatened Ruthie. She's like, "Don't you manhandle me." And I'm like, well, Ruthie's like 4'11".
Yeah, and like she just like touched her arm to try and get her attention. And then like there were other people in the room that were trying to talk to her, and she's like, "I'm going to call the police if you don't let me pack my bags." And I was like, that's not how the police work.
Also, like, I don't even know like what. I doubt she knows in Trinidad and Tobago what to call to get the police.
Yeah, also she's in Trinidad.
Yeah.
Like the police might not come.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just she's clearly should not have been here.
Yeah, well, to acknowledge Stat Checker Paul's claim that I would find her more entertaining than Casey.
Yeah.
That just won. You are correct. That was more entertaining than anything Casey's ever done.
Arguably, yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in 3 or 4 seasons or whatever it's been.
I mean, this is definitely memorable.
Was
Yeah.
it rational? No. Was it more memorable? Yes.
Should she have been on the show? No.
No.
Was it more entertaining to watch? Yes.
Yeah, and it seems like we get a cliffhanger. Like at this point, she's like, "I'm gonna call the police," and then the episode ends.
Does she call the police or not?
No,
I mean,
guarantee she doesn't.
seriously,
No, I'm saying that's the voiceover cliffhanger.
we're sitting here.
Would Joe call the police?
It didn't say that, did it?
Yes, it did.
Did it? I
don't
do not
remember that.
remember that at all.
I don't remember that at
I was
all.
like, how did we both miss that?
I will say
Lydia, will Joe call
Yeah,
the
it's like
police?
the voice of God.
to give you a little credit. I mean, we've been sitting here talking about Joe for a few minutes. I don't think we've ever done that about Casey.
I mean, here's the other thing. Like, some people were speculating, like, oh, the pressure of being a captain got to her, and like she's just freaked out about having to possibly go in. I was like, well, you're just, if that's really what happened, which it may have been, like, she needs help because she's living in like a fantasy world of what if the worst case scenario happens. Like, again, worst case scenario, you lose, you go into elimination, you lose and go home. With this, she's just like threatening everyone and is like, I got to get out of here right now. It hasn't even been 24 hours probably.
Yeah.
It's probably they did the daily and then came to the house and had a party, and then she's done. And so, again, she wasted everyone's time and took a spot from someone else who could have been there. And so I would guarantee she's gone next episode.
Never to be seen or heard from again.
And apparently no one had seen her in a decade before this. So she's not one that I follow on social media from our account, and I don't think I will search her out. Probably she doesn't want anyone to search her out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she's like Anastasia?
We found Anastasia, though. We found Anastasia eventually.
But it was hard.
But then she deleted you.
Yeah, she deleted me. I think she found out.
She found out we were associated with a challenge.
Right.
And she deleted Jake after that. Because she didn't accept our podcast page request.
I wonder if she would let me follow her. Because I don't have anything challenge related on any of my social media.
Maybe now. This was like 6 months ago.
Yeah,
this was a while ago when we did all this. But I mean, it is a private page, Anastasia's. Like, you have to follow her to see anything she posts. But she probably got an influx of people, because I believe it got pushed on like Reddit or something. Anyway.
We were into the podcast like, please find her and send it to us.
So we this episode ends, and then we get a credit scene, which I do like when they did all these like credit scenes like this, where it's just goofy stuff that didn't make the cut. Did you watch it?
Yeah, they were playing Limbo.
Yeah, again, I like these kind of like lighter hearted little ending things. Robin couldn't limbo because she said her boobs were too big. And I said that before she started. I was like, she's not going to be able to go into there for that reason. And I was like, she said it. It's like when
you yelled.
It's like when you're watching a movie and it's called something, and then they say it in the movie, and you're like, that's it.
You do this almost every Grizzlies game with Brevin Knight. You'll watch the game and you'll say something like, "Oh, that's going to be this, that, and the other," or "They should have done this," and then like 5 seconds later, Brevin Knight.
That is
will say
true.
it.
Me and Brevin are on the same wavelengths.
It is throughout almost the entire game.
And
every
you
game.
can contest that. I'm saying just what I think, and then the color commentator for the Grizzlies says the exact same thing. And
it's enough that it kind of freaks me out sometimes. And I'm like, you probably should have tried to get in with the Grizzlies, like even as like really lower level, and like worked your way up to like assistant coach or something.
Yeah, she doesn't think I can be the boss right away.
Nobody gets to be the boss right away.
I mean, yeah, like it is.
You say that.
It is funny, like literally. That's true.
It's true. I got to be the boss right away.
Not for the Grizzlies.
In my line of work, I got to be the boss.
You started off as an instructor.
That is true.
For like a month.
Oh, well, that's a month. She caught you. You got jammed.
But that's, how long it normally takes people to enter into a management
That's not
role.
what I said. I said nobody starts off as the boss.
That is what she said.
Well.
And to be totally fair, you started off as a client.
Yes.
I did.
Because I started off, and then I brought you with me.
Oh, I made an impact.
So
quick, fast, and in a hurry.
I did ask our Slack group to make sure that it wasn't just an elimination every other episode, and it was confirmed to me that after this episode, there's basically an elimination every episode. So that's why we're going to double up and do 2 and 3, 4, 5. So that way we end on 16 and 17, which is the final. Superlatives for this episode, or you got any closing thoughts? I do think doing 2 at a time will be a little. This just ended, and I was like, oh god, it's like it's over.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was almost like Whiplash.
Yeah, especially compared to the hour and a half that we have to watch now.
Yeah. I have superlatives. Who's
No, I knew we all have them, but I was just gonna say, like, do you have any closing thoughts?
Oh, it sounded like you guys didn't do superlatives.
I mean, I didn't write them down.
Closing thoughts.
Okay, let's get into who smashed some heads.
Who smashed some heads? TJ, when he told them after he told the 4 captains that they were captains till the death.
True. It is till death, like pirate.
The police. They got a lot of run in this episode. So.
They got a lot of mentions.
They smashed. They were probably in the process of smashing some heads.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say just Ruthie, just because she first of all, won a physical daily. Also got $1,000 in her own bed that didn't get chocolate poured on it, and was considered a physical threat to someone.
That's what I was going to say.
Like way bigger than her.
If you ask Joe, she was
manhandling her.
Yeah, yeah.
So shout out to Ruthie for who got their head smashed.
Joe, the whole episode, especially the end.
Yeah, I mean that's the one.
That I'm going to go a different route, just because. Yes, Joe, but even in the midst, do you need me to go first?
Who went down on Mark?
What now?
Anissa?
Was it Anissa?
It was Anissa.
Somebody went down on Mark.
Yeah,
and
like a lap dance type thing?
Yeah.
I think it was Anissa.
So Mark got his head smashed.
I don't know about that one. I was going to say, even in the midst of Joe and all that, I'm going to give it to Randy just because he looks so boring.
Randy.
Isn't that the guy that said looked boring?
Adam. You said Adam.
That even better. Adam gets it because...
Yeah. Who's Randy?
Randy was the one that's dating Keena.
It's Randy Travis.
Who's Keena?
I know Keena. I remember Keena.
I remember Keena and Randy.
I don't remember Randy. I definitely don't remember Adam because I just got him confused with Randy.
I don't know a lot of these people. One of my only notes that I didn't get to... Timmy,
I like Timmy.
Looks like somebody's middle-aged dad that like took his son's place on this show.
Timmy was older than a lot of the people on this show.
He looks like his son got a call and he actually picked up the phone and was like, "Yeah, I'll be there."
I wonder how old.
And then just showed up.
He was a pretty prominent competitor during this era.
But you see what I'm saying? Like he even talks like it too. He's got that older dad voice.
No, Timmy was on a handful of seasons. I want to see if it'll show me how many he was on. Timmy Beggy, and he was. Wikipedia doesn't tell me, so I got to look it up on the Challenge wiki. He's a television producer, by the way, guys. He's
really?
He's 48, so 17 years ago he would have been 30 or 31.
That's a rough 31.
So he's like your age.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And Mark's like my age.
And look at the two next to each other. Mark looks pretty good, but Timmy looks 20 years older than everybody else.
Timmy did 4 seasons of the Challenge. Battle of the Seasons in 2002. The Inferno, the Gauntlet 2, and the Inferno 3. You've seen Timmy. We watched the Inferno 3. He was on that.
I don't remember that. Timmy looks brand new to me.
No, he was on there. I don't mind Timmy. Like I'd rather him be on there than a lot of the other people that are on this season.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a fun season to watch. It's almost like watching a different show. In retro, like compared to what it is now.
Yeah, it feels like we're watching something different.
But it's not bad. I think this is going to be a fun rewatch just because it's so different than what we've been beat over the head with for the last. And that's not to say that the new seasons aren't good.
It's just different.
It is just different.
It's much lighter. And this is not even a rewatch for me.
And again,
this is just a plain old watch.
War of the Worlds is a top 5 season.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And so, it's not like we hate new stuff. Like, they killed it on that season.
I kind of want to go back and watch War of the Worlds now.
Let's give it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a good season, good cast all around, and it's a fun introduction to a lot of new people. And so, anyway, I think that's it for this episode. Again, next week, if you're watching along with us, 2 and 3. We're watching episodes 2 and 3 for next podcast, and from there on, we should do 2 episodes from here on out until the finale. And we're not going to watch the reunion, so you got to watch that on your own time. I don't think there's anything we need to see from a 17-year-old reunion.
Not on my watch.
We're not going to watch it on your watch. Do you think you can watch this on your Apple Watch?
No.
Maybe the newest model, if you have the larger frame.
I got one last thing to say. First of all, patreon.com/smashingheads podcast, and then follow us on social media, smashingheads on Twitter.
Can I guess? Are you going to say adopt, don't shop?
No, that is not at all. You're not even in the right realm.
Oh.
What I was going to say is, since Paramount Plus is introducing all this new content, all this new TV shows, movies, all this stuff, please fix your user interface, because Paramount Plus is one of the worst apps I've ever used when it comes to streaming, and I hear people complain about it all the time. The rewind and fast forward are broken to where half the time they just crash the whole episode, and like when you do rewind, it's not like 10 or 30 seconds even, it's like a minute and a half it goes back, and it's just a bad experience all around because there's a lot of good stuff on there. Just fix your back end. And
so you're saying fix your to Paramount Plus, not to the audience.
No, well, I mean, if someone in the audience works for them and knows how to do that or has suggestions, it's a very bad user experience as far as like when we're used to like how seamless like Hulu is or Netflix or any of those type of things. And
I will say, like, there's a lot of good stuff on Paramount Plus. I will not use the app. I just won't. I'll go to Hulu or I'll go to Netflix and I'll watch something else.
It's my least used streaming service that I pay for.
The only time I'm watching anything on it is when we're watching the challenge
and Survivor
to record
now.
and Survivor now.
And their subtitles are worse than
yeah,
the other ones,
they are.
Get it together, guys.
And have a good night, everyone.